You say you
So
don't know when
I
you first heard it because it was so ingrained in your childhood?
it's so prevalent. Well,
Okay.
no, actually, it wasn't ingrained in my childhood. It was definitely sometime in my young adult years,
Yeah.
probably within the last 10 years
Okay.
that I first started to hear that. And I definitely hear it all the time amongst my students. It's kind of like this catch-all
Yeah.
of
Smurf. Yep.
yucky feelings that I don't like to feel,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm not going to take the time or the energy to distinguish what that is because it may be multiple feelings that I'm feeling. And so this conglomerate of emotions that I'm not sure what they are, I'm going to label as some type of way.
Yeah.
And that's like my catch-all.
The
But we
first
expect people to understand what that means when we're saying that.
the first person I heard say it, I think, was Rich Homie Quan. In this song, it made me feel some type of way.
Type of way.
Right? So,
Uh-huh.
and I heard it from younger people. One of the things that is problematic or challenging, or I could imagine tougher for you doing therapy is it often for as black men, we say that instead of saying sad. Like I would never say, hey man, I thought you were gonna hit me up and I was sad. Right? Even as close as
Right.
we are, as
It's so
close as we are,
Crayola.
right. Right. It's like I was sad. It's too simple and it just sounds funny. Right. It's like that's honest. But then the wheel that you present is like, okay, but what sad what
Refine
kind
it.
of sad did you feel? Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that was so for the people who didn't see the wheel, because it broke things down into so many different segments and pieces. How do you use some of those things in your counseling to tease out what some type of way means? And then and I don't want to center men in a conversation. At the same time, manhood tends to be the thing that sends people to therapy, right?
I ain't gonna be
And
no
how
bitch.
how we screw it up, right? Exactly, because I can't tell my boy I'm sad, so I'd be like, man, motherfucker made me feel some type of way. I can't say, man, I was hurt to my heart, man, and I felt betrayed, like our friendship was that, like.
I do. Like if a student comes in and says, Miss Young, we'll use your example. He didn't call me back and I was feeling some kind of way. And I'll say, hold on, let me push pause for a second. What does that mean you were feeling some kind of way? And then they'll say, well, I put all my time and my energy into him and he couldn't even call me back. I have a clipboard right behind me. So skirt, look at this list.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to find a word that resonates with how he made you feel. And then they say, well, I was feeling inadequate. I wasn't feeling like I was good enough for him to call me back. And I feel like if you can name it, you can tame it. So
It's instant
if you can
maturity
put
in
it,
communication.
yes, exactly. And it forces you to become more self-aware.
Yeah.
Because then when you can name that feeling, you can draw connections and patterns to say, okay, every time I deal with this guy, I feel inadequate when I'm dealing with this person. And that causes you to become self-aware, which when you become self-aware, you can start breaking some of these destructive patterns that you're in because you can say, okay, every time I do A, B happens,
Right.
or I feel this way, which leads me to what you asked, Maurice, about the way that shows up in men a lot of times. Why would you feel sad or like you wouldn't want to share that with another guy? And I think the reason is because not only just Black men, but Black people have a fear of being vulnerable and expressing, I felt sad because we have tied vulnerability to weakness in our community and in our culture.